Today we're going to learn how to do the funnest job at Subway, which is helping our guests, and we're going to start by making a sandwich. Before we touch any food, we have to wear gloves, and before we put on any pair of gloves, we should always wash our hands. The correct way to wash your hands is to use hot water and lather with soap for 20 seconds. While you're washing, you need to get the backs, the palms, and in between your fingers, fingernails as well. Some people say it's the ABC song twice. At least 20 seconds. After you're done lathering, you'll rinse in the hot water. And note that I'm not going to touch that handle to shut it off with my clean hands, because I just touched that handle with my dirty hands to turn it on. So either you can turn it off with your elbow, or you can dry your hands first and turn it off with your used paper towel. Now as we get ready to put on gloves, it's very important to have very dry hands. If your hands aren't dry in between each finger, it'll be very difficult to put on your gloves. So at Subway, when we make sandwiches, we use the assembly line method. So first we're going to talk about the image maker. That's the person who stands here and does the meat and cheese on the sandwiches. The first responsibility of the image maker is the Welcome to Subway greeting. It's a 3-second rule is what we call it. Within 3 seconds of walking in the door, each guest will receive a Welcome to Subway greeting. So we should pause at what we're doing briefly, look up, attempt to make eye contact, and say Welcome to Subway. At that point in time, if we're helping a line of guests, the line will form in the lobby, and when someone comes up to be helped, the first thing we're going to do is use a high pause greeting. And the high pause greeting is used in each step along the way, and it's very important. So the components of a proper high pause greeting are to look up, smile, make eye contact, and say hi, and pause. So the high pause greeting allows you to say anything after the pause. So that's why we use it over and over again. So in this particular instance, what we need to know first is what kind of bread the guest would like. So we're going to say hi, pause, what kind of bread can we get you? Now we've got 5 different varieties of bread. There's white, wheat, and toppings on white and wheat bread. You'll learn more about that in your restaurant. I think today we'll use wheat bread. Now before we put anything on our cutting board, we're going to use a deli paper. The deli paper keeps the sandwich off of the cutting board and whatever's on the cutting board off of the sandwich. So it's high, pause, what kind of bread can I get you today? And the guest will tell you what kind of bread. As I tell you, you're going to grab the deli paper and bread and start making the sandwich. The first thing we have to do to make a sandwich is to cut the bread. And the way we cut the bread at Subway is called a hinge cut. Now, a hinge cut is a 45-degree angle on the bread, so it's of course not straight up and down, and it's not flat like every other sandwich place does it. It's exactly in between. So when you have a hinge cut on a bread, it's almost like cutting from one corner of the bread down to the other corner. And the top and bottom half should separate just barely along the top edge of the bread. So as we cut this, it's important to think about safety. Most of our work-related injuries at Subway happen with a knife. So be sure that you're not cutting into your hand. Be sure that your hand's not in front of the knife, that it's always behind the knife. And today, we're going to make a 6-inch sandwich. So we'll make a nice eyeball guess, cut our sandwich in half, and we'll put the other piece of bread away. So as we're helping our guests, hi, pause, what kind of bread can I get you? And as you cut the bread, we're always asking questions ahead of when our hands are ready to do the task. That way we don't pause in between questions, we can help our guests more quickly. So as we open up our bread, we'll ask what kind of sandwich the guest would like. Today we're going to make a ham sandwich. So, a ham sandwich, we can look on a formula chart that's present in each restaurant, and we can say a 6-inch ham sandwich has 4 pieces of ham. So we'll fold each of the 4 pieces of ham. Now it's important not to clump these together. It would be faster if we just took 2 pieces of ham 2 times and put them on the sandwich like that. But that changes the texture and the way the sandwich tastes and looks. So we don't allow clumping of the meat. So we're going to put on 4 pieces of ham. And meat and cheese always go on the top half of the bread. You can see my hinge here where the top separates from the bottom. One of the best things to do while you're making a sandwich is to make sure that you keep things a little bit away from the hinge. We'll talk more about that at the very end. So at that point in time, we've asked, hi, pause, what kind of bread can we get you? What kind of sandwich would you like? And did you want cheese today? We have white American, provolone and pepper jack cheese along with a shred of Monterey cheddar cheese. Cheese always goes on the top half of the bread, and when we place cheese, even with provolone where it's a half moon, we do 1 point up and 1 point down on the sandwich. This provides more even coverage as opposed to using 2 pieces and putting the points the same way. We have a section here with double cheese and a section here with no cheese. So cheese always goes on top of the bread. The next thing we're going to ask our guest is, would you like to double your meat or cheese? So we're asking ahead of the question, maybe as we're placing the meat and cheese on the sandwich, we're asking, did you want to double your meat and cheese today? After they answer the question, then the next step is toasting. So we'll ask, would you like the sandwich toasted? If the answer is yes, we have a toaster oven here. And the toaster oven is a combination baking oven and microwave oven. Now as we look in here, there's a heating element on the bottom of the toaster oven that is literally 1,000 degrees. So it's very important to treat the toaster in a safe manner so that no one gets burned. So if someone wants their sandwich toasted, we'll grab our toaster paddle and our toaster basket. We'll place the sandwich on top. We'll open up the toaster and we're going to slide the sandwich in. As you slide the sandwich in, we need to make sure our knuckles stay away from the door. Let gravity slide that basket off of the paddle into the toaster. You'll close the door gently. And then we need to tell the toaster what kind of sandwich we have. Now if you look at the formula charts in your store, it will tell you how to toast each variety of sandwich. Our ham sandwich is a 1 meat sandwich because it only has 1 variety of meat, and we're toasting 1 6-inch right now. Now as this toasts, it's important to understand that our timer will go off in another 10 seconds, and if we leave this sandwich inside of the toaster, then it will burn. Because this is not only a microwave oven, it's a baking oven. So it still remains 500 degrees inside at all times. As our toaster dings, we'll open the door, keep our knuckles away from the door, and slide the sandwich out. The last thing we have to do in this station of the assembly line is to let the guest know what's going on. So if there's someone standing here to my side who will do the vegetables on the sandwich, then at the time we put it in the toaster, I can go start making a new sandwich. But before we leave that guest wondering what's going on, who's going to help me next, we need to let them know what's going on. So we're going to tell them, Pablo will get your veggies in just a second. Or we'll toast it for 15 seconds and we'll finish your veggies in just a moment. We need to let the guests know what's happening before we turn around and stop helping them so that they don't become uncomfortable. And at the end of the process, we'll just immediately go right back over here. Hi, pause, what kind of bread can I get you?
So the next station is the architect station. So once the sandwich is passed to you from the starting position, the first thing you're going to do is be aware of who your customer is. Locate them, say, hi, what could I get on your sandwich today? They're going to tell you their vegetables that you'd like on it. Before you start putting their vegetables on, you're going to ask them would they like any bacon or avocado added to their sandwich. If they would, you're going to add it on and put it on the top part with the meat and cheese. Vegetables in Subway have a certain order we put them on in if people would like everything. It goes lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, pickles, green peppers, olives, and then the extra vegetables, the onions, banana peppers, and jalapenos. Lettuce is 1.5 ounces on a sandwich. Never grab a big handful, always grab it lightly, and if customers would like more, we'll add as much as they'd like. But start small, and the key with vegetables is try to keep the hinge as clean as possible. The rest of the vegetables go by a rule of 6. What that means is there's 6 of each on a foot long and 3 on a 6-inch. So the next is tomatoes, space them out evenly. Then the cucumbers. Next is the pickles. And remember while you're doing the vegetables, they always go on the bottom half, never on the meat or the cheeses. Then the green peppers. Green peppers are sliced in halves. We put 2 or 3 halves on there just to make sure it's evenly covered. Olives are also by the rule of 6, but they're a little smaller, a little harder to do, so they allow you 3 to 6 on a 6-inch and 6 to 12 on a foot long. Grab them with your 3 fingers here, not a handful, or again you're going to get too many and the customer is not going to be pleased. So grab them and just spread them evenly. If you think you put too much on, throw it back in, make them nice and evenly covered, and then ask them if they'd like onions, banana peppers, or jalapenos. If they would, we're going to add those as well. And it's the same rule of 6 on those as well. Then ask the customer if they'd like any other vegetables on it. If they would, add them. Ask them if it's enough. We want to make their sandwich their way. Next thing we're going to ask is what kind of sauces they'd like. We have a variety of choices from mayo, mustard. We have the Southwest barbecue sauce. Many different varieties, promotional things at times. The way we put those on is the thicker sauces go on top of the sandwich. They go in 3 swipes, and the lighter sauces like oil, vinegar, sweet onion, or vinaigrette, they go on the bottom half. So, when I grab the mayonnaise, you're going to do it, you don't want to squirt it out all at once. You want to pace yourself lightly and get it started, and then go 3 equal swipes. If they would like other sauces, they're the same. We never zigzag cross. We don't put those sauces on the vegetables. Once they've chosen their sauces, ask them if they'd like oil, vinegar, salt, pepper. The oil vinegar, like I said, goes on bottom. Same thing, 3 swipes across the bottom. Salt and pepper, start lightly. Again, if the customer would like more, we'll give them more. We also have oregano and Parmesan if they'd like those. Once you've completed that, ask the customer again, would you like anything else on your sandwich? If they say no, it's ready to wrap. If they say yes, add whatever they'd like and then check with them again. Once it's ready, hopefully we've kept the hinge as clean as possible so it'll make it easy to fold. If we've done it correctly, it should just fold right over. We shouldn't have to shove a knife in there, squash it down with our hands. Even if they have extra vegetables, it should just easily fold as long as we've made the hinge correct. So we're going to take it, and it should just fold right over on top of it, just like that. The sandwich should look nice and clean, not fumbled. Once that's ready, we're going to wrap and get it prepared for our cash register. You're going to take it off the deli paper we use. The reason we do that is this is oil, it's been toasted, gets a little dirty. We're going to throw that away. Next, we're going to wrap it. You want to wrap it geometrically, and you want to wrap it to a good consistency. If it's a foot long, you're going to put it up along the side. A 6-inch, you're going to start right in the middle. Again, you want to wrap it snug, but not smashed. If you wrap it loose, it's going to fall out of the sandwich when they're in their car, when they're back at the office. If you wrap it too tight, it's going to be smashed when they open it up. So you want to wrap it over once, snug it under there, wrap the sides in, and then roll it out nice and tight, but not smashed. After that, we're going to bag it. We give 1 napkin for a 6-inch, 2 for a foot long. You take the napkin, put it over the sandwich, and slide it right into a Subway bag. If they have multiple sandwiches, you can put up to 2 sandwiches in a bag as long as they're both the same kind. If they're both hot, they can go in a bag, or if they're both cold. But we don't want to mix hot sandwiches with cold sandwiches. And again, 1 napkin per 6-inch, 2 per foot long. So you should never have more than 4 napkins in a bag. Next, you're going to tell the customer who's going to ring them up. So next, Pablo's going to ring you up today. Have a great afternoon. Pass it on to the cash register. Go right back to your station. Locate the next customer that you're looking for. Say hi. What can I get for you? What kind of vegetables can I get for you today? And you're going to start the process over again.